The Senate Committee on General Laws will come to order. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll. All right, we have a quorum. That's great. We'll begin with public hearing for Senate Bill 1310. And Senator Coleman, would you mind chairing the committee while we do this? All right. Whatever you would prefer.
Senator, we're ready for you when you are.
I don't know if you need this.
I don't know that either, but I think people could get unruly.
It's going to get out of hand. You're going to need that.
I've seen education hearings. You never know.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the committee. Curtis Trent, representing Senate District 20, Senate Bill 1310. Essentially, current law authorizes the establishment of a medical malpractice joint underwriting association upon a determination that medical malpractice liability insurance is not reasonably available in the market. This act authorizes the directors of the board of the association to suspend the operations of the association if they determine that medical malpractice insurance is reasonably available. The suspension is in accordance with the plan of operations and include provisions for the administration of association funds. And during a period of suspension, the association shall not collect dues or fees from its members unless expressly authorized. And essentially what we're trying to do here is just save everybody some money. If you have a market that has a sufficient number of products that are available, this sort of backstop measure is not needed in that environment, and so I think it's reasonable to suspend it and the attendant costs with administering it. And of course, if market conditions change, it can always come back and continue to fulfill its intended purpose. Be happy to answer any questions from the committee.
Thank you, Senator. I have a quick question. It says on just line 2 on the first page, or directed to resume operations. We're not putting any other limitations. It's just the director can just sort of say we don't need it and we do need it at their leisure.
Well, the board is what suspends operations, but then yes, then it can just resume. Again, like we want to make sure that this is always available. So I mean, people need to be able to react quickly if something should change rapidly. But yes.
Thank you. Any further questions for the senator? Seeing none. Any witnesses here to testify in support, please come forward.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Brandon Koch from Missouri Insurance Coalition, here to testify in support of Senate Bill 1310. Currently, the director and the board have the ability to either start the MMM-JUA or to stop it. What this does, this is a happy medium, so it allows the suspension. So as the senator said, if there was a problem, you could quickly start it up and instead of having to reform it. This is a success story. The MMM-JUA started in 1976, and through 20 years they had to issue 438 policies, had paid 102 claims, and issued payments of over $9.8 million in claims. And due to the improved voluntary market, it's just no longer needed. Since 2022, there have been 0 policies and 0 claims. And currently it costs about $200,000 to operate this organization. So what this does, it basically sunsets it or pauses it, and in the event that there was a need, they could fire it right back up. The director of the Department of Insurance, or Department of Commerce Insurance, supports this measure as well.
Thank you. Any questions for this witness? Senator McCreary.
So I'm glad you mentioned the cost to operate it. So it's housed in, the association is part of the Department of Insurance?
The director oversees it, but there is a board, and they operate it, and they oversee the assets, et cetera.
Okay. So if operations are suspended, would there be cost savings then?
Yes, about $200,000 a year in cost savings because they can just pause things, if you will, or suspend them. There's
Okay.
still some costs, but not as if they're continuing to run the organization as they are now.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Any further questions for this witness? I just wanted to reiterate one thing that you had said was there haven't been any claims in the last 4 years. No
Correct.
policies,
No policies, no claims.
nothing.
Correct. Yeah,
Thank
the
you.
market is once again healthy.
Great. Any further questions? Seeing none, next witness in support.
Thank you.
Going once, going twice. Anyone here in opposition? It's a barn burner. Anyone here for informational purposes only? Seeing none, this concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 1310. Thank you, Senator.
For those listening in at home, we will pause just momentarily here while we attempt to locate our next bill sponsor and a couple other members of the committee. It's very busy in the Capitol here today, and people are split between a lot of different locations. We are going to move into executive session really quick, and then we'll get to our final hearing after that. So I make a motion that we go into executive session. Do I have a second? It's been seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any contrary, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. You're in executive session. I first make a motion that the committee vote do pass Senate Bill 980. Do I have a second? It's been seconded. Any discussion on the motion?
I will just say, I think that Senator Carter and I have been talking past each other, and we're going to get together and clear out any differences that we've got. So I'm happy to keep talking. I think we're just talking past each other. So, and I will say, I bear full responsibility for that. Sorry.
That's all part of it. So any further discussion on the motion before the committee? Hearing none. I renew my motion that committee vote do pass Senate Bill 980. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll. By your vote of 4 aye and 2 no, you have voted do pass Senate Bill 980. I next make a motion that the Senate committee vote do pass Senate Bill 1120. Do I have a second? It's been seconded. If everyone will recall, this is the time-limited demand bill that we heard, I think, last week. Any discussion on the motion?
I want to share that I have a couple of concerns, and we're going to meet and visit through those concerns. And
Yes, happy to work with you as we hopefully approach the floor at some point.
sounds great.
Yes,
so
thank
I'll
you.
be a yes in committee, and hopefully we'll be able to work it out. Thanks.
Very good. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. I renew my motion that Senate committee vote do pass Senate Bill 1120. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll. By your vote of 4 ayes and 2 noes, you have voted do pass Senate Bill 1120. I next make a motion that Senate committee vote do pass SJR87. Do I have a second? It's been seconded. If everyone will recall, this is Senator Carter's sheriff's language, sheriff's amendment. Any discussion on the motion?
Just a quick question.
Senator, please proceed.
Senator, I'm sorry I missed the hearing on this. Was this the same language that was presented last year? Thank you.
Further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. I renew my motion that Senate committee vote do pass SJR 87. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairman Trent.
By your vote of 4 ayes and 2 noes, you have voted do pass SJR 87. I now make a motion that we exit executive session. Do I have a second? It's been seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any contrary, say no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. We are out of executive session, and we will next commence with the public hearing for Senate Bill 1588. Senator, please proceed when ready.
Good afternoon, Chairman and members of the committee. For the record, Senator Jamie Berger, representing the 27th District. Thank you for the opportunity to present Senate Bill 1588 dealing with the notary fraud. Senate Bill 1588 is intended to strengthen protections against document fraud in Missouri. The bill before you today is a product of several industries working together on solutions to help address this problem without unintended consequences that may delay legitimate real estate transactions. Specifically, the bill requires recorders to display a visible warning that filing false documents is a felony with potential jail time and financial restitution, raise the offense of filing a false document to a Class C felony, except in certain circumstances it may be elevated to a Class B felony, clarifies that property owners may utilize a judicial process currently established in law to unwind a false document. And if I get these papers together, I'll finish. Raises the fine for notary seal vendors who do not comply with the law from $1,000 to $10,000. Finally, the bill increases penalty provisions for various types of notary fraud from a misdemeanor to a Class C felony. Mr. Chairman, I think you're going to offer a committee sub to this bill, if I'm not mistaken. I do have witnesses behind me that may answer some questions, or I'm open to questions myself. Thank you.
Thank you for that presentation. Yes, there will be a committee sub, which I believe has been distributed, that adds a couple of additional pieces related to notaries that I'd be happy to discuss with the committee if they have any questions. But first, any questions for the bill sponsor? Yes, proceed.
Do we have the Senate sub? Let me say this. I don't have the Senate sub. Do you mind walking us through what provisions are going to be in that?
Well, let me look here. Hold on.
I have questions for the bill sponsor, if you don't mind, while you're working on that.
Yes,
That's okay.
please proceed with your questions for the bill sponsor, and we'll get that sub together here.
Senator, you mentioned there's several industries that had concerns about what's going on. Can you walk me through what's happening, or maybe those industries are present and will testify?
The bankers and recorders are the ones who wanted us to submit this bill, naturally, because that's who's seeing the impacts of what's going on with the false filings. And I think his Senate substitute is going to clear up what your questions are.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
I'm happy to wait for that then.
Okay.
Thank you, Senator.
Could you repeat the question real quick?
No, real slow.
Or real slow, either way.
My question was which industries are currently being impacted, and then also, what are those instances that they're dealing with that has led to them bringing forward this? We did, I guess, was it 3 or 4 years ago, we changed a significant portion of the notary laws about, it must have been longer than that because it was during COVID, about who can notarize and how, and there were a broad number of changes that were made in that. And so to see new changes so soon after we just did that is where my questions are coming from.
Yeah, so part of it, I believe, is in the, like in the conveyance of property. So you have things like beneficiary deeds that are conveying property, and there's a power of attorney or some kind of instrument that's being used in the conveyance, and after the fact, that documentation may not exist any longer. So the sub will have some language that will require any property that's conveyed via that sort of instrument by that sort of power to include a copy of that with the conveyance, so that can be used as later evidence that the conveyance was legal, and so that's sort of the context in which a lot of this is happening. And
Thank you, Senator. That makes sense. We actually just recently purchased a vehicle that had a power of attorney attached to it. So the signature on the back of the title did not match the signature of the seller of the vehicle. And with that conveyance, we had a copy of it because the dealership happened to just, stick that in the file for us. But if they hadn't, we could have had problems. So that makes sense to me about where that
And then
concern is
an
coming from.
additional concern is that, there's concern around the competency of the individual that's making the conveyance and the notary being insufficient to evaluate competency. And so having an attorney also witness or also attribute to that conveyance and be able to also give testimony then on competency if that ever becomes an issue.
I look forward to seeing that language. I think we've done a lot to try to make sure that we have self-proving affidavits and most legal documents, and I'd hate to have us be taking a step backwards in that regard. So let's talk more about
Yes, in limited
associate that
circumstances
language.
only, yes.
I just don't want to get, kind of camel under the nose.
Yeah,
Thanks.
very understandable. Likewise. Yes, Senator, please proceed.
So I look forward to learning more so that we can I'd like specific examples and try to understand what you're getting at with this. But one of my main concerns with this is the Class C felony. That's a pretty, like a child being used in a sexual performance is a Class C felony. I'm just a little concerned that maybe things are out of whack with the Class C and the Class B felony. So I'd like to talk that through and work that through with you before this bill gets moving.
Further questions for the bill sponsor, or did you have a comment?
I was just going to say, sure, definitely.
Excellent. Any further questions for the bill sponsor? Seeing none, we'll go to witness testimony and support. Please make sure you fill out a witness card and proceed when ready.
Chair Trent, members of the committee, my name is Eric Stallo. I'm the Sheridan County Circuit Clerk and Recorder of Deeds and the President of the Recorders Association of Missouri. Thank you for allowing me to testify before you today in support of Senate Bill 1588. I'd also like to thank Senator Berger for his support in our efforts to help protect Missourians. Criminal false documents with the Recorder's Office purporting to transfer ownership of a property without the owner's knowledge can cause incredible damage to the owner and to the process for restoring that title after that fraud is discovered and difficult to navigate the judicial system. Senate Bill 1588 seeks to address the growing threat of property fraud by increasing the criminal penalties for those committing that property fraud. This bill also addresses notary fraud, often perpetrated in conjunction on the filing of false documents by increasing penalties impersonating a notary and increasing the fine for manufacturers caught producing fake notary seals. Finally, this bill assists property owners who have been victimized by fraud, creating an expedited process to the petition for judicial review of a possible fraudulent document. This will give the victims of this crime concrete steps to take to minimize the long-term impacts of the property fraud. Our offices get a lot of questions about property fraud from our constituents, especially with the TV commercials all about it. The product that is being sold to viewers is to protect them, doesn't do very much. And as a similar notification system is offered in most counties across the state of Missouri, directly from the Recorder's Office for free to our constituents. This bill is a step in the right direction to help the growing issue of property fraud, and I'd like to thank you for your time today and happy to answer any questions for the committee.
Thank you for that testimony. Questions for this witness? Yes, Senator, please proceed.
Hi, thanks so much for your service to the state and for being here to testify. I'm really sympathetic. There's a lot of this kind of property fraud that's going on around the state. I'm a little concerned about the proposed solution in this case, only because, like, looking at 422.033, requiring beneficiary deeds to have a lawyer. It's, I'm a lawyer, but I don't think that we should be just making work. And so we have these self-proving affidavits for a lot of our trusts. There was a real movement in the late 90s to try to make sure that we didn't have to have witnesses to prove things later on, and that we could have surety of title, and I'm worried that we're going in the wrong direction. But I am really sympathetic to the problem that you're trying to solve, and so, and I don't have a better solution. So, I don't know, how many cases have you personally seen this in your county?
Personally, in my county, I have none. Across the state of
Right.
Missouri, probably in the last 2 or 3 years, I want to guess probably 15 to 20 probably.
Okay, so it's happening, but it's not widespread right now. I mean,
Again,
it's a massive problem for those 15 to 20 people. I'm not trying to undercut
Agreed.
what they're going through. I just was trying to get a sense of scale.
Right. The other thing, back to your beneficiary deed, the biggest problem we see from the recorder side of the counter is people are doing beneficiaries deeds on their own that doesn't contain the legal language that needs to be in there to transfer that ownership when the current owner of the property passes away.
Right, and I'm sympathetic for people who represent themselves not successfully being able to do that. But I don't think that that means we have to require them to hire a lawyer. I think sometimes the natural consequences of that is the natural consequences of that.
Sure.
And I know you guys are really limited. You can't say to somebody, you know, hey, this doesn't look right. You need to go take a second look at it because now you're practicing law.
Correct.
But I just wanted to say I'm a little bit concerned. And then the other questions I had was, in the original bill, one of the provisions was talking about a $10,000 fine for a badly manufactured or a wrongly manufactured
Notary seal.
notary seal.
That's
What's
correct.
going on with that? Where's that coming from?
So a lot of that is stemming from AI, unfortunately, where they, like if we're getting out of somebody that's out of state and signing a document, they are able to AI manipulate a video showing the individual sign the document when that individual is actually not signing the document. So it's coming electronically to us.
Okay.
That is our side of it.
Okay, so the problem seems to be with the existing statutes that we passed during COVID allowing some more electronic usage.
Now, the downfall to it from our perspective, we love to give that opportunity to electronically record all the documents.
For sure, that makes it way more
that is
convenient for taxpayers.
Absolutely right, absolutely correct. And we don't want to go away from that.
Right.
We just hoping like, if that instance does come up and somebody's doing this notary fraud, then they get penalized for it.
Okay, and then some of the other fines that are being created, or the criminal actions that are being created are being put onto the notary. Lots of lawyers end up being notaries because we notarize each other's stuff as it's easy. You know, it's a helpful thing if you're already doing all the paperwork in the office. Having
Agree.
everybody kind of get it is easy, but I wonder about the liability insurance costs to the notaries based on these increased crimes and the increased fees. I don't want to have less notaries because the insurance for errors and omissions insurance ends up being more expensive. So
Understand?
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Further questions for this witness? Yes, Senator, please proceed.
You mentioned, like there's something on TV, commercials or something. What's the general gist of those commercials that's,
The one that comes to my mind right off the bat is they call it title lock, where these companies are advertising that they can lock your title for you. Well, that is not accurate in the state of Missouri. That might be in other states, but the state of Missouri is not accurate.
Okay.
Now, we have had that discussion amongst us and other groups about creating a title lock program or a system. We just have not worked through the kinks yet, unfortunately.
okay. So there's companies trying to do business in the state of Missouri selling something that's not actually doable.
Oh, absolutely right.
Okay.
My middle son just bought a house in the next county up, and we get mail all the time for him. That comes that address that says, "Hey, we'll protect your title." You know, he bought it within 30 days ago, and I guarantee there's been every bit of 5 or 6 different companies already reaching out for him. And he's like, "What is this?" I was like, "Throw it away, throw it away." And that's sad that I've got to tell my son that, and how many people across the state of Missouri
Yeah.
don't know that, and they fall into that trap is the unfortunate part about it.
It sounds like something good for the Attorney General to look into, quite honestly. That
Sure.
would be part for the Consumer Protection Division.
Sure.
So hopefully somebody's listening.
My understanding is that most places will allow you to monitor your title. It's a thing you can sign up for. Is that accurate?
That is, there's the biggest majority of the counties across the state of Missouri have a electronic software recording program that allows. Ours is called proper deed watch. They're called, some are a property fraud watch. You can go online. It's free service to our constituents. You can type in, hey, what name that if we record a document under my name, it'll automatically send me an email if I'm signed up for it. So I can put my name on there, my mom and dad's, grandma and grandpa, whoever's name I want to. And if there's a different combination of like Charles and Chaz or Charlie, I can type all those in. So if something does get recorded, I will get an email back immediately.
And I think that's probably a program most people are not aware
Right.
of either.
You're correct. And we are doing our best. It's probably been the last year and a half where we've implemented that program or those programs. So we're trying to get the word out. Some of them are some of the recorders are able to stuff like a flyer with their tax bill for the collector to send out to the constituents. So we're trying to notify everybody, but it's just going to be a process.
That'd be great for us as electeds to put it in our newsletters and communications
Oh,
with our
absolutely.
constituents. So thanks.
language to our offices, I'll put it
Yeah, I put it in a
I'll
newsletter.
get to Senator Berger.
Yeah, thank you.
Further questions for this witness?
Well, I just want to add to that. It's I don't know if it was my clerk that I was speaking with about this, but it's important to note that you have to sign up in each county and where you own property. So if I've got a house in Saline, Cooper, and Lafayette County, I've got to sign up in each individual county. You can't just sign up in one. So that's just an
That's
addition
correct.
to the conversation.
That is correct.
For the record, I only own property in Saline County.
Appreciate that clarification. Further questions?
Just a comment. I had a group of recorders in my office the other day, and that's exactly what they said. So we did just a short video on that and put it out on social media,
Great.
just talking about access to, because again, it's something I've been concerned about, and I thought we had to buy or purchase another
Insurance type policy.
Yes.
Correct.
And so for the recorders to be able to share that, I mean, they were enthusiastic. There was about 10 of them in my room, and so they just
Absolutely.
all shared how they could
Good.
do that. So thank you for providing that.
You're welcome.
Further questions for this witness? Yes, proceed.
I just hadn't said anything yet, and I didn't want to be left out.
Very good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Now you've been included. Hearing no further questions, thank you for being here and for that testimony.
Thank you.
Further witnesses in support?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Emily Lewis. I'm a registered lobbyist on behalf of the Missouri Bankers Association. Appreciate the sponsor bringing this bill forward and for the chance to collaborate with the recorders and other stakeholders. We're happy to continue working with the committee to perfect the language and try to find a good solution to protect property owners.
Thank you for that testimony. Any questions for this witness? Seeing none, thank you for being here. Further witnesses testify in support? Seeing none, no further witnesses in support. Any witnesses in opposition? Seeing none, any witnesses here for informational purposes only? Seeing none. Senator, do you have any closing remarks? No, thank you. That will conclude the public hearing on Senate Bill 1588. With no further business coming before the committee, I make a motion that the committee adjourned. It has a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any contrary, say no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. The committee is adjourned.